All right, let's talk about something we all deal with, a cluttered mind. Today we're going to unlock some really profound ancient Buddhist wisdom. But don't worry, this isn't just philosophy. We're going to turn these big ideas into a simple, modern toolkit, something you can actually use to manage all that negativity and find a little bit of calm in this, let's be honest, pretty chaotic world. So let's get right into it.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever just felt overwhelmed? You know, that constant nagging heaviness in your head? That feeling like you're being weighed down by something you just can't seem to shake? It's something we all go through, for sure. And today, we're going to explore exactly how to start lightening that load.
Okay, so first things first. If you want to clear your mind, you've got to know what's cluttering it up in the first place, right? So let's talk about this so-called bad energy. What is it really? And where on earth does it come from?
You know, it shows up in all these different ways, doesn't it? It's the stress from that looming deadline at work. It's that awkward tension in a relationship. Or maybe it's that little voice inside your head telling you you're not good enough. And, wow, is it ever that endless scroll of bad news on social media that just cranks up our anxiety? Just seeing these things for what they are, that is the absolute first step to getting back on solid ground.
So in Buddhist philosophy, there's actually a word for this feeling. It's called dukkha. Now, dukkha is basically that deep, underlying dissatisfaction that happens when we just cling to all those negative feelings we just talked about. The stress, the doubt, the resentment. And here's the real game changer. The suffering doesn't actually come from the bad things that happen. Nope. It comes from how we attach ourselves to the negative feelings they stir up. And that is the very core of the problem we're trying to solve here.
Okay, so how do we stop clinging? I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? Well, this is where the Buddhist perspective gets really interesting. It offers this totally new way of looking at our mental energy. It's not just random chaos up there in our heads, it's a system of cause and effect. Let's dive into that.
And right at the heart of this idea is karma. Now hold on, because a lot of people get this one wrong. This isn't about some cosmic destiny or fate that's already written for you. Not at all. Think of it more like a law of cause and effect. The really crucial thing to get here is that our actions, and this is key, it includes our thoughts and our words. They all create ripples. They have consequences that literally shape the world we experience. Here's a really simple way to think about karma that I love. Picture it like a cosmic bank account. Every time you have a compassionate thought or do something kind for someone, that's a deposit. You're adding to your positive energy balance. But those harsh words, harmful thoughts, yeah, those are withdrawals. They create a deficit of negative energy. When you look at it that way, it's a super powerful way to think about the small choices we make every single day. So where does all this negative energy actually come from? Well, Buddhism boils it down to three fundamental roots. Think of this as the source code for our suffering. First, there's ignorance, which is kind of like not seeing the world clearly. Then there's attachment, desperately wanting things to be a certain way. And finally, aversion, which is pushing away the things we don't want. Once you start to see these three things in your own life, you can finally start to deal with them head on.
Okay, so we've talked about the what and the why. Now it's time for the how. This is where we get practical. We're going to dive into a mental toolkit full of actionable things you can start using like right now to build a clearer, more positive mind.
First up, let's talk about mindfulness. And I want to clear something up right away because this is a big one. Mindfulness is not about emptying your mind. It's not about trying to stop your thoughts or reach some magical state of perfect quiet. Not at all. It's actually much simpler. It's about learning to just observe your thoughts, to watch them float by, kind of like clouds in the sky, without getting tangled up in them.
And you can literally start right now. It's so simple. All you have to do is find a quiet spot and just sit comfortably. Close your eyes and bring your focus to your breath. Feel the air coming in and feel it going out. Now listen, your mind is absolutely 100% going to wander. That's just what minds do. The real practice, the real magic, is in that moment when you notice it's wandered, and you gently, and without beating yourself up, just guide it back to your breath, over and over again. Okay, another amazing tool in the kit is something called loving kindness meditation. Now, this one is different from just watching your breath. This is an active practice. You are intentionally, on purpose, generating feelings of warmth, goodwill, and compassion. You start by directing it towards yourself, which, let's be real, is often the hardest part for most of us, and then you gradually extend that feeling out to others. It's honestly like taking your heart to the gym. It's a workout for your empathy muscle.
Now, all these internal practices are fantastic. They're game changers. But their real power, their real magic, happens when you take them out of your quiet room and into the real world, when you start applying them to your everyday life and your relationships with other people.
I love this way of thinking about forgiveness. Imagine holding on to resentment is like forcing yourself to carry a heavy backpack filled with rocks everywhere you go. It's exhausting. And here's the thing, forgiveness isn't about saying what the other person did was okay. It's not about letting them off the hook. It's about you choosing to put down that heavy backpack. It's for your sake, so that you can finally walk forward feeling lighter and more free.
And if you want to see a powerful, real-world example of this, just look at Nelson Mandela. I mean, think about it. After spending 27 years in prison, he walked out and understood something profound. That true freedom wasn't just about walking through a gate. It was internal. He knew that if he carried all that bitterness and hatred with him, he'd still be in a prison, just one of his own making. His story is just an incredible testament to how liberating forgiveness can be.
You know, compassion can also totally transform the way we talk to each other. There's this practice called right speech, and it gives us these 3 simple but really powerful questions to ask ourselves before we say something, especially online. Before you hit send or post, just pause and ask, is what I'm about to say true? Is it kind? And is it actually beneficial or helpful? And if you can't say yes to all 3, well, maybe just not saying anything is the most powerful choice you can make.
So, the big question is, how do you actually weave all this into a busy, modern life? Well, the good news is you don't have to go on a month-long silent retreat, not at all. It really just starts with small, simple habits that you do consistently. Things that slowly, day by day, create a more positive space inside your own head.
In fact, here are 4 super simple things you can do starting today. First, in the morning, before you even reach for your phone, just take a second to think of one single thing you're grateful for. Second, when you feel that stress starting to build up during the day, just pause. Take 3 to 5 deep breaths. It's like a mini reset button for your nervous system. Third, try one small act of kindness. It could be a genuine compliment or a tiny gesture to help someone out. And finally, be mindful of your media. Choose to listen to one uplifting podcast or read one interesting article instead of just, doom scrolling. Trust me, these tiny shifts create huge ripples over time.
At the end of the day, clearing your mind isn't some destination you arrive at. It's not a one-and-done thing. It's a journey, right? It's a series of small, conscious choices you make every single day. And it all begins with just that first decision to start. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What's the one positive action you're going to take today?